Hey guys, George here. So I made more progress with my business in the past month than I did the 3 months before that. Everyone on YouTube likes to say this is the problem, but the actual hyper successful people are saying
focus,
speed, just focus,
urgency, focus,
speed,
focus,
urgent, focus,
move fast,
focus,
extreme urgency,
just focus,
speed, focus,
speed, focus to move fast, focus,
speed,
focus.
Now, if you are lazy, then you should go watch some other video because this video is for those that are willing to do the work, but they're frustrated that they're moving so slowly. I'm gonna quickly break down this graph to show you what they actually tangibly mean by focus and how it enables speed. Then I'll share 3 non-obvious methods that those people and I use to max out our focus. So first, let's say you're in your 20s and you've just flicked the switch and you want to lock in. Let's say your goal is to become a millionaire entrepreneur. This logic applies to any goal though, academics, other careers, whatever. If we approach achieving your goal operationally, all that's really standing in your way is a certain number of completed tasks. Completing each of those tasks requires a certain amount of time on the task. Think of it as a threshold of attention minutes you have to reach, either to figure out the solution to the problem or actually get the labor done. What focus tangibly means is being efficient with your attention so you can rack up the attention minutes to complete each task as fast as possible. For example, Teddy Roosevelt in college didn't spend more than a quarter of his day studying, but he got top grades at Harvard. The amount of time he spent at his desk was comparatively small, but his concentration was so intense and his reading so rapid that he could afford more time off than most. Imagine if you had that level of focus, but instead of using that to take off more time than others, you instead put in the same amount of time as others. You would progress magnitudes faster than everyone else. Now, most people try to achieve that level of focus by just being more disciplined. But the practical answer is actually 3 targeted methods. 1 for intensity, 1 for speed, and 1 for control. So the first method, work like a lion, not a robot. If you try working like a robot, meaning working all day, you'll notice that only a fraction of that time generated most the output. And the rest of it was spent mindlessly clicking around in a semi-distracted state. To work like a lion, do this. Let's say you're starting with a attention span, like mine was at uni. Try starting with just 15 minutes of single-minded focus before having a break. Then when those 15-minute sessions feel easy, ramp it up to 30, 45, 60. Then when you're ready, the optimal length recommended by Huberman, Cal Newport, Jim Lower is 90 to 120 minutes on, then 10 to 30 minutes break. That's the optimal length because it aligns with our ultradian cycles. After that, we need a rest to let our attention systems involving acetylcholine and dopamine recover before we can attack the task with full intensity again. Trying to force past 90 to 120 minutes often means relying more on stress and arousal, cortisol and adrenaline, which are helpful chemicals if you have an immediate deadline. But regarding achieving a long-term goal, it's more efficient and sustainable to limit your bouts of work to 90 to 120 minutes. Now, the last piece of the puzzle to really max out the intensity of your bouts of work is to make sure your rest periods are actually rest periods. Doing something extremely stimulating like doom scrolling isn't letting your attention systems recover. It's just engaging them more. Go for a walk, do your laundry, have a power nap, do literally anything that doesn't require intense concentration. Now for the second method to improve your focus, let me first tell you about how Jensen Huang maxes out NVIDIA's productivity so it can be the most valuable company in the world. It's called the speed of light principle. Projects are deconstructed into their smallest component tasks, which are then assigned target completion times, assuming no delays, meaning the theoretical speed limit of their productivity, hence speed of light. So the second method is to add target times to your to-do list. Not just a general deadline for the project, but a deadline for every task on your to-do list. This leverages Parkinson's law. In other words, you know that urgency you have when you've procrastinated and you need to get it all done for tomorrow? Imagine having that urgency all the time. Now for the third method to improve your focus, schedule every minute of the day. The immediate objection people often have to this, I had it too when I first heard about it, is that it doesn't allow for flexibility. I.e., what if something urgent comes up, or what if you're simply having an off day and you break the schedule? Before I address this, first consider the alternative vague method of planning, which is I'll do some work in the morning, then have lunch around sometime midday, then do some more work after that and finish when I finish. That has 3 major issues. First issue, imagine going for a run without deciding beforehand how far you're going to run. Or imagine trying to get stronger in the gym, without knowing exactly what your previous lifts were, so you can ensure you're progressively overloading. Especially as the inherent fatigue of running, gymming, or working will be biasing you, you're going to end up doing less because you don't have a tangible target to go for. Second issue, remember from part 1 of this video, the importance of being efficient with your attention so you can rack up the attention minutes to complete each task as fast as possible. Not having an exact plan of when your focus should be fully on working and when it should be on resting means you'll be wasting your attention on fighting these moment-to-moment negotiation battles of what you should actually be doing right now. Not only does that waste attention, but it can also cause anxiety if you're constantly thinking, should I be working right now? But I just did a bit of work. Is that enough work? Third issue, one of the biggest reasons people fail at staying consistent is because they go through this phase of being super motivated to lock in, so they do a sprint of grinding for a bit, but then they yo-yo back to degeneracy because that sprint wasn't sustainable. When you stick to a regimented schedule, you can be sure to schedule in your fair share of leisure time. So then when you're working, the temptation for distraction isn't as compelling because you know you have leisure time coming up right after your work. Then when it actually comes to that leisure time, you'll have the reassurance that you deserve it and you can fully relax because you know you're executing a sustainably productive routine. Now back to the objection of no flexibility. This completely misses the point of the method. It's not actually about forcing rigidity in sticking to a schedule by the minute. It's about encouraging rigor over where your time goes. If you realize the plan was too ambitious or you're having an off day and you break the schedule, that's fine. It's completely okay to readjust your schedule. In fact, it's actually encouraged because after enough adjusting, you'll find your optimal, sustainable routine where you'll then be making great progress consistently. And now you can just enjoy the ride of momentum that brings you to achieving your goals. If you want to discuss anything, feel free to leave a comment. Happy to help. Go well, fellas.